All right, good afternoon to you. I'm Fox 26 meteorologist Ramisha Shade. Let's talk about the tropics. And fortunately, things remain fairly quiet across the Atlantic Basin and across the Eastern Pacific for that matter. In case you're wondering, yes, we are now officially into the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season, and it's the fourth day of this year's hurricane season. And of course, our CSU forecast, that's the Colorado State University forecasters, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration forecasters, calling for a very busy year. That is why we are concerned that we could have a lot of tropical depressions, tropical storms, hurricanes, and even major hurricanes brewing out here throughout the season across parts of the Atlantic, Caribbean, and the Gulf of Mexico. But at least we are kicking things off on a quiet note. No tropical cyclone activity expected for the next 7 days or so. There are some models that are hinting that maybe by mid-June we could start to see a little action in the Atlantic Basin, maybe a disturbance or two that could develop into a tropical depression or something even stronger. But for now, just a few showers and storms showing up across parts of the Atlantic, Caribbean, not much happening at all in the Gulf, but nothing that is expected by the National Hurricane Center to blossom and develop into a potential tropical system. Of course, we are in the month of June, and usually we don't get much tropical activity in the month of June. It's the very beginning of hurricane season. But typically, as we look at our formation zones, if we were to see something forming, there would be a slightly higher probability of that happening in the eastern Gulf of Mexico. Of course, we are located closer to the western Gulf of Mexico. But of course, if something were to develop in the eastern Gulf of Mexico, it would just depend on its track. It could gradually make its way closer to us. But for now, the Gulf is quiet. And the good news is that we are expecting it to stay quiet over the next 7 days. Water temperatures in the Gulf of Mexico are super warm, closer to temps you'd see around August in the 80s. But even with that warm water, absolutely no action expected for the next week or so. But as I mentioned, we are just getting things started. It is just the beginning of hurricane season, which began 4 days ago, June 1st, and the peak usually right around September 10th. So notice, right around the beginning, middle of August, things really start to ramp up, historically at least, and get going with more of these tropical systems that peak right around September 10th. Even into early October, we could still have a fairly active period before things usually drop off fairly quickly towards mid to late October and definitely throughout the month of November. So as we look at this tropical history, notice the blue color, that light blue, showing the named storms, and the orange color showing the hurricanes. So tons of named storms typically for the beginning and middle of September. So we're hoping that things don't get super active, but we do have NOAA calling for as many as 25 named storms. We only have 21 names on our list for our Atlantic Basin tropical system. So we may actually use up all of these names and need another list. But we've got another list that will likely be used if we do get through this list. But first, if we do get our first tropical system anytime soon, it would be named Alberto. Then we go to Beryl, Chris, Debbie, Ernesto. And then that's second column, you'll see starts with Helene, Isaac, Joyce, and then we move over towards Oscar, Patty, Raphael, all the way down to William. Then the World Meteorological Organization would then provide that secondary list of names if it is needed, if we have to go to storm name number 22 or higher. So of course we'll be monitoring things closely. That's about it as far as what's happening in the tropics. Not much going on right now. We did have one system in the Eastern Pacific with a 10% shot for development, but even that has fallen apart. So we'll keep a close eye on things. And of course, we're going to be here daily updating you on exactly what's happening.